all in? I'm a fan of the Jets. I'm a fan of the Jets. The Jets. The Jets. Why this team? The Jets. Ah, the Jets! The Jets!
Greetings to all. Welcome to 2022. Omicron is on the run, and away it went. But oops, there goes gravity, and here comes a new variant. Omaha, Corona, Hut 1, Hut 2, nothing infects the Super Bowl, and nothing stops football.
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops me and is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the blackballer. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone.
After that football weekend, Chris Cody came in with a question that has genuinely stumped me. I don't know the answer to this. Maybe it's a very simple answer. Maybe you all know the answer, and I and Chris Cody are again the fools.
What question, Dano?
The question, it's your question. You should know, Harry Carey. Yeah, I would think that you would know.
It's Chris's question.
But it is, why does the referee on fourth down hold up a fist instead of four fingers?
Yeah, it's true.
Because 4 fingers is fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Well, that's like, but the refs do that?
Yeah,
The
everybody
officials
knows
do-
no,
you
but
put
even
up 4 fingers, that's fourth quarter.
Even the defenders now know, like, when they get up celebrating, they celebrate with the fist in the air.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's fourth down. Fourth down.
Now, admittedly, the fist looks cooler.
Yeah.
You know, because like when a defender gets up on fourth down, like it doesn't look as cool if you put up 4 fingers. So it looks cooler, but the refs do it. I just was thinking it. I was like, he could very easily right now put up 4 fingers for fourth down.
Is there a signal for second and third down? Because
Yes.
Repeat
second down.
No, but at the end of the play, do they run in and like hold up 2 fingers at second down?
No, if there's a penalty, replay second down.
Right.
They hold up
They
2
put up
fingers,
2, but
3
for fourth-
fingers, and for fourth down, it is put it on the poll.
Offsides on the defense, they decline the penalty, fourth down, and they put up a fist.
But why?
That's
That's a
what
great
I'm asking.
question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Put it on the
Should
poll
be 5th down.
at Le Batard Show. What?
Should be fifth.
It's a whole
Well-
fist. That's 5 fingers.
Right.
What's
It's
going on with your
Right,
fingers and
technically.
that thing?
We
I
got
don't know.
At Le Batard Show, do you know why it is that a referee holds up a fist instead of 4 fingers? Yes or no? I don't want to actually talk anymore about football. I want to talk about what is happening in the NBA, where the Golden State Warriors don't care about the salary cap tax, and all of the other owners are like, okay, let's go back to doing this with a hard cap where we can control costs because we don't like that they're willing to blow through the tax. We don't like Ballmer, and he doesn't care about the tax, and we don't like rich people being richer than we are. So can we change the rules and have a hard cap on period, so that we can do socialism? They already have a cap because the owners can't control themselves. I wish these sports didn't have caps because I'd really like to see Jerry Jones and Daniel Snyder want the same quarterback. I'd like that to be something.
A bidding war?
Yeah, well, I would like to see a $1 billion player in one of those leagues just because these guys can't control themselves. But they want to make it so that by rule they have to control themselves, and they're doing it because Golden State doesn't care about the tax.
Oh, and they have an arena that allows them to produce enough revenue that it offsets what they spend in luxury tax, which right now is something in the neighborhood of $40 to $50 million. The Memphis Grizzlies can't do that. But for whatever reason, and look, in fairness to them, it makes real, genuine sense business-wise. In terms of increasing valuation of teams, it makes sense to control costs. It's why European soccer clubs are cheaper than American sports
franchises. The Warriors
franchises.
are valued as the most valuable franchise in the entire NBA. They do not care about this tax. They have this advantage that does allow them to be light years ahead because the other teams care about the tax, almost all of them.
The arena is what allows them to be light years ahead because it produces so much revenue for them. But as a sports fan, I get really tired of watching billionaires say, I can't control myself. Please, league, control me for me. Because otherwise, I'm going to spend another $20 million on a small forward to help my team. And I just don't like the whole notion of, well, anything to reduce how much we compete with each other. Because God forbid we actually competed with each other. What if, holy hell, we had an open market for players and there was no maximum salary and there was no salary cap? My God, what Steve Ballmer would spend to win. Yeah, what would Steve Ballmer spend to win? Let's find out. Let's make this the rich person Olympics. It already is. Let's make this what it's sort of trying to disguise itself from being.
Are you having trouble? And these costumes and these grid of death punishments are always more difficult than you think they are. You all, except for Harry Carey,
Stinks
over
for
there.
them.
Harry Carey. We've got 4 NSYNC members inexplicably.
I'm Lance Bass. Hi.
We've got 4 NSYNC members.
Bye.
And Harry Carey for reasons that no one really understands.
Bye.
You sound like Jason Jackson.
Jessica, you're having trouble with your arms in the slings in the puppeteer's strings.
My biceps are already getting really sore from this, and it's really hard to reach my mic. I did biceps yesterday.
Yeah, I did tries yesterday. This is unpleasant.
How do the other NSYNC members feel about Justin Timberlake? Because he's kind of taken off and forgot about all that.
They despise him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
Sorry
hey,
for
JT,
partying.
I'm surprised you agreed to do this with the rest of us. Usually it's the other 4 of us, and you're
I am
gone.
way more famous than all of you guys. So
No, but the rest of the members of NSYNC, they've gotten to like go on the nostalgia tours, and they went on tour with the
Justin
Backstreet
Timberlake.
Boys.
They're not JT famous.
I know, but none of them were JT talented.
I'm just saying,
so-
Backstreet Boys stayed together.
Well,
I'm
because-
married to Jessica Biel. Sorry. I'm awesome.
Billy, who are you?
I'm JC Chazet.
And how
are you?
How true to I'm a salad.
Oh.
How true are you to the character? I don't know the members of Insane.
Tony told me I look like Steve Jobs.
You look evil.
Billy, your things for your wrists seem lower. Like they give you some more give.
They're supposed to be around our shoulders.
You're the number 2 singer here. You're the number 2 singer here. JT was always number 1. JC right behind him, though.
Stugotz, I saw over the weekend that Stephen A. Smith, I hadn't seen this before. I don't know how old this sound is because he took a private plane to game day where Pat McAfee, someone's had a conversation with him about the necklace and the attire, right? There was a conversation.
Why, he's dressing up?
Yeah, he looks different than he did.
He's been dressing up. This weekend, he looked like he was a minister in a Las Vegas wedding. He had on a black suit and like a silver and black paisley tie. It was quite a look.
Stephen A. Smith flew out to be the celebrity picker, and he flew out on a private plane. But then I saw some sound, and I don't know from where it was, but it was Stephen A. Smith saying that he was underpaid.
He is.
He was talking about how women are. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. But I wonder how the audience feels about hearing that. And I'm not. I remember there was a rule. I don't know. It must have changed because McAfee can't get to all these places unless he's flying on a private plane. Herb Street cannot get to these places. I've told you before. Trent Dilfer wanted a private plane, and they were like, "Goodbye, Trent Dilfer."
Yeah, but Wheels Up is a sponsor to that show and has been for a very long time. So I think they fly all their guests in. All their celebrity pickers are flown in. I did mine via Zoom. So I wasn't flown anywhere. I did it via Zoom, and I was a second or probably a third choice. But Wheels Up does fly all their celebrity guest pickers to the scene of College Game Day.
But while talking about how women are paid less than men, Stephen A. Smith also said, and black people are paid less than white people. And then he did the following, which was say, I am underpaid, and I'm not going to apologize to anyone at this network for saying on television that I am underpaid. But I think he's right, Stugotz, and I think it's also appalling for the audience to hear that that is correct.
He is right. He's very talented. He does a lot of great work for that network, probably too much work for that network. My fear is that he's going to burn out. But Stephen A. is right in saying
he's in his 50s.
I know.
Like, if he hasn't burned out yet, when's he going to burn out?
Well, he's not
coming
on First Take today.
Yeah.
Hold out? What do you think?
No, he actually said he's out with COVID. He just posted on Twitter. He did.
Wow, after being on the game day set.
Yeah.
Not tremendous.
Says he feels better, but he's out today.
Oh, good God.
And he's underpaid. No, fans don't want to hear that. Fans do not want to hear that, Dan. To answer your question, what fan wants to hear a guy who talks about sports and makes $10 million a year, or at least that's what's reported, hear that person say, I'm underpaid? Nobody.
But by television standards, he is. By television
I agree.
standards, if you're
Aren't the games more valuable to the networks than like First Take? Like, I could be wrong on the math on it though. Like,
no, of course the games are valuable.
so he's not as valuable. Like a broadcaster for a game should be getting paid more if these games are valuable.
But one could argue that the broadcaster doesn't drive the value there. The game drives the value. Whereas, however many hundreds of thousands more people watch at 10 a.m. on ESPN is worth an advertising dollar more than whatever would be the programming you'd sub instead. And so from an advertisement generation standpoint, Stephen A. Smith is more valuable than a game broadcast.
But beyond that, just do the math using our show. Look at what our show gets for a year. It's more than Stephen A. Smith. Like, that's him being underpaid. The market pays our show and this better per year than he gets paid. And he's doing a lot for that network. I know people don't want to hear it. Look at Mike Schur's in the what happened here? How is Mike Schur back here? When did this happen? Do we get to do stat of the day again? What has happened here that allows Mike Schur has been gone for weeks here. I've been wanting to do stats of the day with him. He has I don't know whether it was protest, rage, fury. He disappeared for a couple of weeks saying we were overworking him. What brings you back? I'm thrilled to see you.
Thank you. But you did do stats of the day while I was gone. You continued as if nothing had happened, as if you didn't care about me or my feelings at all. You just kept doing it. Didn't feel sorry about it. Just did it. That was nice to hear. It was pleasant for me. But I'll tell you what happened was I had a long sit-down meeting with John Skipper about my role in the show. I told him I would no longer continue as an unpaid intern. Said I wanted to be paid a fair wage, and I wanted some time off. And more than anything, Dan, here's what I said. I want some respect. That's what I told him. And I believe that my message was heard because I am not going to be making any actual money, because what Skipper said was, and this is a quote, if I were going to pay you, I would have to take money out of Dan's trainer's pocket or Dan's masseuse's pocket or Dan's personal chef's pocket. And daddy's got to eat, is what he said. So instead of money, I will not be getting money. I will be getting one general admission ticket to next month's Moss Miami event, which I will be unable to use because I live in Los Angeles. I will also be receiving 2 factory irregular twin bed size Sheets and Giggles fitted sheets, which I think is very nice.
And hopefully some Dayquil. I mean,
I hope so. And I will also be receiving 8 50-yard line tickets to next year's Miami-Virginia football game, which currently are valued at a total of $12. So I'm back. In exchange for this package, this perks package that Skipper offered me, I have signed a new $1 billion year contract with the show, an idea that Skipper presumably borrowed from Scientology. But I am allowed 1 day off per year in the event of family tragedy. So I think I got my respect that I was looking for.
Why do you sound so bad? What's the matter with you?
I have a cold. That's the other thing. I have a cold. It's not COVID. I've tested myself 4 times. It's not COVID. I just have a normal run-of-the-mill cold.
So boring.
poor cold. No one cares about the cold anymore.
Care about his health.
The poor cold. The cold has been run off by COVID.
It also, nobody believes you.
Yeah.
Mike Schur has just said, I tested 4 times. I still don't believe him. I think he has COVID. He sounds like he has COVID.
I carried around a negative COVID test with me in my pocket yesterday. So because I had to go to places where I had to be around other people, and I would hold it up and go like, this is me, I'm fine.
Why you're coughing on people?
Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do stat of the day. It's thrilling to have you back.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day.
The stat of the day is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Folks, I am so excited to be back here on the show. I actually have 2 stats of the day for you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I have a football stat of the day and a basketball stat of the day. Here's the football stat of the day. Yesterday, I don't know if you saw this, but the Patriots beat the Jets for the 13th consecutive time. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, according to ESPN, yesterday was the first time that the Jets had entered a game with the Patriots with a better record than the Patriots since week 12 of the 2001 season,
Jesus.
Tom Brady's 10th career game.
God almighty.
They play twice a year, every year, and they had not had a better record than the Patriots since week 12 of 2001, 21 years ago.
That's amazing.
You would figure an occasional 1-0, 0-1 Patriot team.
Yeah,
Something,
that's what blew my mind. Is there was no year where they were 2-1 and the Pats were 1-1 or something like. Anyway, that's your football stat of the day. Here's your basketball stat of the day. What a delightful start to the basketball season. Every team that I despise has gotten off to a terrible start, including the Los Angeles Lakers, who disappointingly beat the Nuggets last night. But entering last night, the Lakers as a team, were shooting 23.7% from 3. In his career, 7 foot, 1 inch tall, chain smoking Vlade Divac shot 23.5% from 3. So basically, as a team, through whatever it was, 5 games, the Lakers were 0.2 of a percentage point better from 3 than Vlade Divac.
I saw that DeAndre Jordan hit his first 3 since 2015
Get
over
outta
the
here.
weekend. Yes.
Get out of here.
That's on
The
list.
bigger shock is that he attempted one.
I know
Right.
that he
That he
attempted
hit one.
Yes. I also saw this stat over the weekend that Giannis is averaging more in second halves than Jokic is for a game, that Harden is for a game, that Jimmy Butler is, than Paul George, than Karl Anthony Towns, just in the second half.
What is Giannis averaging in second halves?
He's averaging like 24 a game in the
What?
second half.
In
or
the
something.
second
There's
half?
Also there was another crazy stat that Luka has gotten to 30 points in each of his first 6 games, and he's the first person to do that since Jordan in '86 in his first 6 games.
It sounds like you've missed doing the stat of the day.
I
It's
kind of
like-
have.
Yeah, he came with 2.
Explain what's going on with Verlander to me. Is it just baseball's weirdly random? 0-6 in World Series games has never left with a lead. He's started more than 6 games, 8 games he started.
It's one of the weirdest things in baseball. It really is. It's inexplicable. I don't understand it. I mean, if Kershaw had his numbers, you would be crushing Kershaw 5 times as hard as you have. If you take out Kershaw's start against the Astros when they were banging on trash cans, his World Series numbers aren't bad. He has like a 3.50 ERA in 7 starts or whatever it is. And Verlander just gets crushed. And it's absurd. There is no explanation for it. No one has an explanation for it. I don't understand it. He's going to pitch again in this series, and we're now going to have the same like freaked out narrative about him that we do about Kershaw when he pitches in the postseason. People are going to be expecting a disaster. It's bizarre.
What do you know about the anti-immigration ads during the World Series on Fox?
I know nothing about them except that I've seen them. I just got back from this fairly lengthy little book tour to North Carolina, New York, and then overseas. And I was in North Carolina, and oh my God, what you see in local ads in North Carolina. I assume it's the same in Florida. We don't get a lot of that in California. There's no point, right? There's no point in Republicans even advertising in most of the districts in California. But it was like a horror movie. It was a horror movie every time they went to commercial with someone telling you that immigrants were coming to murder you specifically, Gladys and Muriel and Eugene in your homes. They're going to come and murder you unless you vote Republican. It was horrible. I couldn't believe it. Like we're not exposed to that in California. Like I know that it exists. I understand that these ads are being run, but I had never, I guess during election time, been in a place where the races were contested in such a way that they were being played all the time. It's shocking.
But you're
Truly
not
shocking.
you're not exactly numb to some of this. It's kind of hard to shock you at this point, given what it is we've seen happen, right? You were naive. What is it that this can still be shocking to you when this is where we are, the most craven and the most extreme of places, that what we're doing here is dumb and dumb is winning?
Yeah, I certainly wasn't naive to the messaging. I was simply naive to the actual ads because I just never seen the actual ads that were running. I'd seen speeches, I read quotes, I had read articles, but the actual ads themselves are just mind-blowing. I mean, it's truly disturbing. So that's all it was, is I had just never been in a place where the ads were running when they were running. And I think it's getting worse and worse all the time. Have you talked about Elon Musk charging people to use Twitter yet? Has that?
Well, he's in. Have at it here. Do you have thoughts on what's going to happen here with Twitter? As the New York Times did an enormous amount of reporting on Elon Musk, who felt like he was walking into a toy factory. $44 billion seems like a lot of money to spend on any single thing in the world, and he's done it on a toy that has a great deal of power. So your thoughts were what there on? Yes, of course he's going to monetize it.
Well, this is the truly bizarre thing about this to me is Twitter, like Facebook and Instagram and everything else, has tricked famous people into creating content for it for free, right? Stephen King tweets and rock stars tweet and Taylor Swift tweets, and all these people do this for free. Like, they give this company free material. People comb the internet and break it down into digestible parts and then put it on Twitter so that you can curate the entire internet and watch whatever is interesting. And he's like, here's my idea for this. I'm going to start charging those people to use this. What are you doing? They're all going to leave. Like, why would you pay money for the privilege of putting your stupid ideas on Twitter when you can put your stupid ideas anywhere else for free? Like, they're just going to run away. And the only question I have is whether journalists who feel like it's important for their media outlets to have Twitter presences will stay. But I kind of think they won't. I kind of think everyone will be like, oh, I'm not paying for this. I'm paying you for the privilege of putting my ideas on your site. Forget it. I mean, I would be gone in a second if he did that. I'm probably gone anyway, but I'm not going to pay him money to use stupid Twitter. Twitter's ridiculous. Like, why in the world would anyone pay to use one dumb thing on the internet when there's other dumb things on the internet you can also use?
Well, a couple things there. I think the main concern is that like people will use the bot verification thing for nefarious purposes to spread misinformation or to scam people, because like if you're pretending to be someone else, like this has happened to me before. Someone impersonated me on Twitter, but it was an unverified account, and so people like realized right away it wasn't actually me and like reported it. But if I'm unverified and someone impersonates me, it's harder to tell who's real and who's fake. And obviously it doesn't matter because I'm a nobody. But like if that happens to an actual important media figure or like politician, that could be an issue. But the other thing is that like Twitter is also used by media companies, like you said, as a way to promote and market other things. So it has become somewhat of an economy for advertisers. And I think this would probably drive some of that away too, which doesn't seem to be in the best interest of Twitter.
No, and also like it becomes a death spiral, because I think if those unverified people if the misinformation flows about who's who and is this really your account or someone else's account, then first of all, the whole site becomes less, in theory, less reliable. And then more and more people go like, I'm leaving. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to be a part of this. Like it becomes a place where the whole point of verification, in theory, is it let you trust that this was really the person that you wanted it to be. If the fact that he's now charging people causes some people to leave and fake accounts to pop up, then everyone will be like, oh, it doesn't matter now. I don't have any idea whether this is really this Jessica Smetana or a Jessica Smetana impersonator. So this site is now worthless to me, so I will not use this site, and they will also leave. And then businesses will leave. And also, by the way, all the Nazis are trying to come back already. I don't know if you saw that, but one of those Nazis that got banned was like, Elon's in charge. I'm gonna get back on the site. And they had to like whack-a-mole them back down. But that will happen too. All the Nazis will come back, and they'll try to get Trump back. And then other people will be like, well, this is awful, and more hate will be spread. The N-word went up 500% within the first 24 hours of him taking over. Like, that's what all those people will come rushing back. And then businesses, in theory, will go like, well, we don't want our ad for, or like our tweet for like, whatever product we have to be right underneath an insane screed about how George Soros is putting microchips in vaccines or whatever. So we're going to leave. And then like, it's just so self-defeating. The whole thing is so self-defeating. I just can't wait for it to happen because I would love it. But the optimal outcome here is that Elon Musk straight up loses $44 billion. That's my personal hope and dream. That he just like, I lost $44 billion.
That's your rooting interest?
That is absolutely what I'm rooting for, without question.
Mike, do we not sound though like the aforementioned Nazis that started their own social platform? And it's like, hey, we're just going to go create our own thing because we don't like what this thing became. And you're sort of creating an equal and opposite reaction.
There's one key difference, I would say, in how we sound between us and the Nazis. I don't know if you can identify it.
Yeah. I mean,
there is one, like, there's one kind of like,
not everyone who went
off the top of my head.
Not everyone who went to Truth Social was a Nazi, but I like it for me though. It's just sort of like everyone is going to create their own personal public square, and there is not going to be an actual public square. Not that there ever really was one.
No, there wasn't, and also okay, there's no internet public square. It's not like it's really worked so far. It's essentially been a haven of hatred, abuse, harassment, misinformation, and sometimes like a promoted ad for like a vacuum cleaner or something. And I don't think it's like served. He says, America or the world deserves this flourishing public square. The idea of charging people to enter the public square shows you how disingenuous he is and how little he actually cares about that. He doesn't care about that at all, because if he actually cared about it, he would say, like, you will never have to pay anything for this. I'm going to run this as a public utility. But instead, he's like, no, I'm going to charge rich people $20 to use it. Like, that's so crazy. And look, when I say, like, we'll all leave, I'm not saying we'll go anywhere. I'm not going anywhere else. I'm just going to not use Twitter. I spend too much time on Twitter. It's eaten my brain. My brain is full of worms that have crawled in there by me using Twitter. It's made my life measurably worse. And I just will. This is a perfect excuse to get rid of it. And I will get my news from other reliable places that don't have Nazis crawling around on them. And that will eat my brain with its terrible brain worms. So this is a net positive. If he blows up Twitter, here's the win-win. He loses $44 billion, is personally humiliated, is exposed as the fraud that Billy has been and Stugotz have been saying he is for years on this show. And also the Nazis all disappear again. Like, it's like that. How can anyone not be rooting for that?
What are you gonna do with all your umpire scorecards, though?
That's a great question. That's the one problem with this, is I need to find where I can get umpire scorecards. By the way,
perfect game.
Shout out Pat Hoberg. Yeah, perfect game. Did you see this, Dan? Perfect game. He was an umpire through a perfect game, called every pitch correctly in the World Series.
What?
It's a huge deal. Yeah. The umpire scorecards keeps track of how many calls, how many balls they called strikes, how many strikes they called balls. For the first time in recorded history, Pat Hoberg called a perfect game.
And did
Pat,
it
whatever, Don Larson. I mean, how about that?
Did it on the biggest stage. Extraordinary.
I did it too on the New York Times. Don't worry.
We all did.
Missed one, actually. That was hard. You didn't play the umpire game on New York Times? No. Oh, man, I went 6 for 7. Mike sure played it. He doesn't see that and not play it. Come on, you played it.
I haven't seen it. I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't listen to Mystery Crate?
I haven't that.
We talked about it on Mystery Crate. They show you a pitch, and you have to guess whether it was called a ball or a strike. Or you have to guess if it was a ball or a strike, and it tells you what the umpire called. It was like 7 missed calls from
You'd
last
love it, Mike,
season.
honestly. Baseball fans love this thing. I'm telling you.
I mean, it sounds good.
Oh, Twitter shitter.
Thank you, Harry Carey. Your thoughts here are always welcome. Mike, welcome back. It is nice seeing you. I think
nice seeing all of you.
I think we need to go to break and regather ourselves. I don't know why Harry Carey is shouting at us.
I can't type.
I don't know why Harry Carey is talking about the New York Times crossword. I don't know why Harry Carey has gone unhinged and gone.
Hey.
The little
Holy shit, he's gonna do it all again, It's time for the playoffs. So grab a beer, I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs. It's time for the good stuff, where every game comes down to guys who kick. It's time for the playoffs. The playoffs. Hot goalies, playoff beers, and Lord Stanley. No, Roy, I'm not talking about ice hockey. I'm talking about the NFL playoffs. The gridiron. Winner go home. The ultimate postseason tournament. Here, let me show you. Big Ben's last game. Kyler's feeling shame. Upsets in Green Bay and in Tennessee. There's just no way Prescott's going to the ground. He slid 1 second too late, and they don't have a timeout. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Arrowhead, become personal playgrounds. Too much time, 13 ticks. Holy shit, he's gonna do it all again. It's time for the playoffs. So grab a beer, I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs. It's time for the good Playoffs sometimes mean having to say goodbye. Even if you're not ready. Careers wind to an end. Mantles taken. Last chapter's written. But stars emerge to write new, exciting stories. For every door that closes, a new one opens. For every immunized quarterback that falls short, there's a young hotshot ready to take his place. There's nothing quite like playoffs. The playoffs. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'm talking about the greatest of all time. He can turn it around in just one play. You can watch it all happen in the playoffs. The playoffs. It's the playoffs. Never is afraid. Eyes in his face. The chosen. I'm talking about Evan McPherson. It's time for the playoffs. It's the playoffs. The playoffs. It's the playoffs.
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker. I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. He's beautiful in every way. It's out of control.
He throws the ball most accurately and won 7 rings.
So good at quarterbacking, he's meant to our decade teams.
A 6th-round draft pick with a chip on his shoulder and a dimple on his chin.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. He broke so many records and reached unattainable goals.
I said he was done 10 years ago when he shoved it down my throat.
He played the Jets twice a year and always ripped out their souls.
And just like that, he left us all wanting more. He's a certified GOAT.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all.
The greatest of all time.
The greatest of all time.
The Jets. The Jets. Why this team? The Jets. Ah, the Jets! The Jets!
Stugotz.
We have got a Jessica F. 1 minute to get to when she gets herself untangled. The degree of difficulty on some of these things in costumes. I can't use my phone. I don't have access to information. It seems like all of us are in some way handcuffed in the doing of the show today.
I'm doing all right.
Why can't you use your phone?
Because my gloves make it so that I can't.
Make a hole like Stugotz did in his little thumb.
Yeah.
Is
That's
that-
just because I'm fat. Yeah.
What has happened with your costume? Is your costume already falling apart? Why is your thumb leaking out of your costume? Is it because it's cheap in the hands?
It's a little small. I've become a little bigger, and so the thumb. Now I'm happy it happened because I need the thumb to do something. I can text. I can look up stuff on the computer, but it's a little tight and I'm a little heavy. That's what happened.
In the wrists, in the hands, your
I
hands.
have fat hands. Yeah.
Your hands have gotten fat.
Oh yeah.
I think you look great in this costume, by the way.
Thank
These
you.
sunglasses suit you.
Really?
Yeah, you should wear them all the time. The round frames are hard to pull off, Stu.
Just be Elton John all the time.
Jessica, what was the viral video making the rounds recently that has you even more disgusted with McDonald's than you would normally be under normal circumstances?
You know, actually, I think it disgusted a lot of people, and I'm not sure if it disgusted me or not, but it was a video of the making of the McRib. And McDonald's is going on a whole McRib. Oh, say goodbye forever to the McRib. It's like, you're not going to.
It'll be back in 3 years.
It's like the Rolling Stones.
Exactly.
Elton John farewell tour.
Thank you, Stugotz. The McRib is just like the Rolling Stones. But there was a video of the making of the McRib, and it's like these very flat frozen patties that they put on the grill, and then they dunk it in, you know, like the McRib sauce.
Brown
And
goo.
Honestly,
It's just goo.
People were like, that's so disgusting.
What'd you
I can't.
think? What'd you expect?
Thank you. I thought it looked fine. It looked like every other making of
Frozen
fast
piece of
food
meat thrown in some
video
sauce.
I've ever seen. But
That's
people
McDonald's.
were freaking out about this McRib video, and I was like, honestly, it kind of makes me want to eat a McRib.
I think the McRib, not unlike the hot dog, you don't want to know how it's made.
Nope.
For sure.
You just want to have it
Especially
and
made
not
en
think
masse.
about it.
Made en masse.
The Taco Bell meat one is also bad, but that doesn't stop me. Nothing stops me. This is too good.
Wait,
It's too easy. It's too
there's
cheap.
there's video of Taco Bell meat getting made.
Yeah, it's not good.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's not a
God.
good visual
You
at all.
watched
It's like boiled. It's basically
Really?
just like dry meat that looks gross, and then
Stop
they like
it.
pour a bunch of water on it, and then all of a sudden it's ready.
What?
Everything comes out of like a plastic bag there. Yeah, that's part of it too, because it's like, well,
You're better off not knowing, correct? You're better off never seeing it.
This is an
Something's-
advertisement, by the way. This is an advertisement. I love Taco Bell. Like, this is not me criticizing
I just
Taco
keep
Bell.
saying careful, careful, careful. Never know one day.
Yeah,
Careful.
you're not
and he's
helpful.
like, no, this is great.
You are not helpful. I don't think you've said anything on air other than
Trying to
whispering
keep the lights
him.
on around here, Dan.
Other than whispering.
we love
careful
every
to
brand
everybody.
and product. That's what Billy's trying to
Instead of a
say.
yes man or a no man, Billy is just a careful man. He's wandering around warning everybody.
Sometimes the phones stop
to be
working. You know, if we
careful.
get
These frozen McRibs have knuckles. I know it doesn't make sense, but it's just like weird, man.
Yeah, I
It
think
looks like a fence.
I think the shape of them, more so than anything else, like they have like the rectangular rib bone structure. I don't think the actual McRib has bones in it though, because that would be
It actually
a
goes on
choking hazard. But
It actually goes on a flat top. That's an upset.
Right.
Guillermo, put it on the poll, please, at LeBatard Show. Did you know that frozen McRib meat had knuckles?
I just don't know why these pieces of meat look extra frozen. They look like every piece of chicken that you've forgotten about in your freezer, and you grab it after 9 months that it's been there, and you pull it out of the bag, and like, what? This does not at all resemble what I purchased.
Is it that much worse than like eating a frozen meal? Like those things, like
Billy,
like a
help me
meatloaf. If I
out,
eat a
Billy.
frozen meatloaf,
Billy,
like it's
what's
the
so
same
Oh, I
shit.
love a frozen meatloaf. Stouffer's. Oh,
What's so
fantastic.
funny back there?
Well, I just
Billy?
declared I love mystery meat, and everybody got mad at that. You never just find something in your freezer and you go, let's figure out how to cook this and then figure out what it is after.
half the time it's bait because my boyfriend likes to fish, and I don't want to eat that shit. That's nasty.
Classic Lehman.
He also saves like scraps from like vegetables and like rotisserie chickens to make his own stock. It's our freezer is really
His own
weird.
stock?
Yeah.
I
wrong
am
with him?
scared of meats that have been sitting in the freezer for too long. I do believe that the fast food industry, though, really does traffic on we don't want anything to go bad.
If there's ice on it, you're good. Just put it up, put it to like 425, 450, have it on there for like
See what
50
happens.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
That is a good point. Like, I can't remember the last time I heard of a fast food company causing like a salmonella outbreak, other than the Chipotle norovirus epidemic of 2015, which I was still eating at Chipotle throughout that entire thing because I was like, what are the odds? But I know Jack in the Box had a very famous incident, but other than that, it feels like these mega corporations take food safety pretty seriously, or else we'd hear more about it.
Guillermo, put it on the poll, please, at LeBatard Show. Do you have a piece of protein in your freezer that has been there way too many months?
I think CTT, this Cinnamon Toast Crunch, had the shrimp thing. CTC. Damn it.
Oh, yeah. Well,
tried to get slick with my.
It's all right.
that I wouldn't like not a fast food restaurant though. That's more of like a processed cereal.
College football this weekend, Stugotz.
Oh, do we have a weekend?
I know that I know there are a number of things here that you want to get to. Somebody explain that Oklahoma State game to me. It's not that they lost. I expect them every year to lose a game that I'm watching. No matter how good they are, no matter how amazing they
They're
are.
going to lose one.
They're going to lose at least one, probably two, maybe three. But being shut out. Shut out when they've scored, when all they do is score a ton of points. I did not have, and I don't know what's more interesting to you, Stugotz, that Tennessee looks really overwhelming, or that Oklahoma State is a pretender that way because Kansas State is now in the mix with great offense.
I was never really one to take Oklahoma State seriously because of what you just said. They always have a hiccup somewhere along the way, somewhere on that schedule. I am far more intrigued by Tennessee, who had a potential look-ahead game at home against Kentucky. They played Georgia this weekend, by the way, and that game's for everything. I mean, what a weekend we have. But I am so impressed with Tennessee because Tennessee appears to be overwhelming. Now, we'll see how they do against Georgia, but a lot of teams, like a lot of people felt like Kentucky was going to keep that game close, and they did not. Tennessee's defense is so good. We pay attention to the quarterback, but their defense is so good.
I don't think their defense is very good at all.
Is
I don't
okay.
think Kentucky's offense is
also
very
a
good.
college
Also,
football experts.
Georgia
but
is
they're
-9
not,
going into this
Stugotz.
game, Stugotz. They are big favorites over Tennessee. It is a huge game, the implications of which will probably be the SEC championship for the Eastern Division of the conference, but Georgia's a huge favorite going into it, so I think it's going to be a great game. I'm sure College Game Day will probably be there, but
They should be there, right?
Georgia's got the better defense.
But it's a
without
great
doubt.
weekend because I think Alabama plays LSU, and Alabama could lose that game. LSU's playing a lot better. You have Notre Dame and Clemson. Notre Dame could easily win that game at home against Clemson. So just a lot of things could really, shake up this weekend in the world of college football. 2 of those 4 teams are going to be eliminated, right? 2 of the top 4, they all play each other.
That kind of happens at the end of every season, especially because like the Big Ten is kind of, they only have 2 good teams right now, Michigan and Ohio State, and they have to play each other. And then the winner of that will play against, maybe Illinois, like the winner of the Big Ten East. Illinois,
that
no.
whole division.
Illinois is
solid.
good. Illinois is a solid team.
The
Do
Big
not
Ten, the
disrespect.
Big Ten needs to scrap the divisions, though.
They are. They are.
on,
They're
man.
not going to have divisions. I think after next year or this year maybe, but no. There's
Illinois is
always
pretty
at
good.
the end of the season like interconference cannibalism because now you have this SEC setup where Alabama, if they win out, which is not, they usually do. They usually only lose one game a season. If they win out, they're going to end up playing either Georgia or Tennessee. So the winner of this Georgia-Tennessee game is going to end up playing probably Alabama, and then if they lose to Alabama, then you have two loss SEC East teams plus a conference champion Alabama team. And then in that scenario, do you have 3 SEC teams in the playoff? Because Michigan or Ohio State, one of those teams is going to have a loss if they continue to win out. So it's going to set up kind of an interesting end of the season. And then the first college football playoff rankings come out tomorrow night. So it'll be interesting to see where they have everyone slotted because...
Will it?
I think it will. I think like Tennessee and Alabama, like there are still a number of beat reporters who vote on the AP poll that have Alabama over Tennessee. There's at least one. They were getting ratioed on Twitter yesterday. But like there's going to be like the top 6 aren't really going to be that important because like Stugotz said, they are going to all play against each other at some point, minus Clemson. Like Clemson definitely has the easiest road ahead for the rest of the year.
TCU as well.
Yeah, but where they rank like 8 through 15, I think will be interesting.
Whittingham agrees with Stugotz that we've arrived at we've made enough changes here that we have ruined the regular season.
Well, we will at some point. When
Yes.
this goes to 12 games, Georgia Tennessee's not interesting.
Right.
They're both making the playoff.
Thank you.
They're both making the playoff.
Thank you.
If we go to 12
No.
teams, I mean, yeah, like yes, it'll be cool to see two teams play each other, but like you said, this is an elimination game to determine who's
Hold
going
on
to
a
make the
second.
SEC
Wait,
championship
it's going to take
game.
the sting away from like Michigan, Ohio State.
Okay, but you guys
Because
like,
in a couple of years, both teams are going to make the playoff regardless of who wins that game.
3 weekends ago, Tennessee and Alabama played in one of the most highest rated games of the season.
Right.
That doesn't have major implications on the playoff for either team. Like, it was a huge, huge win for Tennessee in their program, and it was a bad loss for Nick Saban, but both of those teams can still make the playoffs. So how is that any different?
Yeah, but Tennessee doesn't
Than a
make the
year from
playoffs
now.
unless they win that game. It
That's
wasn't. It
not
was a big. It
necessarily
was a bigger
true,
game
because
for
they can
Tennessee.
still beat Georgia and then play Alabama again in the SEC
I think
championship.
it reduces the margin for error for Alabama in the run-in, because if they lose 2 games in the regular season, maybe you have an argument for them to make the college football playoff if they win the SEC championship, but a 2-loss team is a big deal. I don't think going forward, the very biggest teams in college football, they lose 2 games, it's not really going to be that big of a problem. They'll probably still make
No,
the
if you
playoff
go
anyway.
12 teams, of course they're going to be
Especially
a
as-
bunch of 2-loss teams in
And
there.
there will be an attempt to further squeeze out the other big conferences. They've already squeezed out the group of 5. I imagine the Big 12 and the Pac-12 are next, because resource-wise, they're not going to be able to compete with the SEC and the Big 10, and to a lesser extent, the ACC.
Well, the Big 12 just signed a big new television contract this weekend.
it
That's going
doesn't-
to be giving them like way bigger payouts. So I think they're actually in a really good spot right now compared to like a
they're
week
in
ago.
an okay spot, but they're still making, what, a third per year of what the Big 10 is making? So the Big 12 is making
Half, I think. I think
380, and I thought the Big 10 was making a billion per year or something.
Chris Cody has changed his costume during the show because he's an amazing.
I'm Harry Carey.
You were Harry Carey, but now you are Lance Bass, and you look more like Michael Moore.
He really does.
What's the matter, buddy? I mean, just one time. 40 years I've been rooting for this team, and just one time I wanted my team to play in that big game in that beautiful dome in Los Angeles.
Dome? What about the elements? Back in my day, we didn't play in a dome. Let me tell you, back in my day, we considered football to be an honorable game. We didn't have to pass the ball every single play, and that's how we did it back in my day. It's the cold in December and sweltering two-a-days. It's embracing occasional punts, and don't get me started on instant replay. Now we're cooking with gas. Watch out! I'm not done, by the way. Let me tell you, back in my day, there was no showboating. We respected the game. We sat on a stoop and let the radio play, 'cause that's how we did it back in my day. It's the wishbone I wish for. It's a toss to Red Grange. It's a first down without a taunt. Playing the game the right way. Whoa, that's right. No retractable roofs. I'm talking frozen tundras and ice bowls. No Van Brocklin. What star? That's why they call it football weather. Bud Grant and the Purple People Eaters, ladies and gentlemen. That's how they played the game back in my day. It's Len Dawson enjoying a smoke and a brew during a game. Tank Stram wearing a sports coat. Legalize the clothesline and bring back drop kicks while you're at it. I'm Greg Cody, and that's how it was back in my day. Ba-da-ba-diddly-up. Bop. Ba-da-ba-diddly-up. Bop. Bop. That kind of thing.
I'll spend all night out in Venice, then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney?
It is! Baby, one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now.
One shot at whiskey, a go-go.
There we go. Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thin bowl of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
Yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
Get it! I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton. Hey
guys, need a shotgun of beer or what?
I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now.
Showtime, buddy!
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape? from here. I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops me and Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the black baller. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's Urban and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canton. It's cheating and tanking and bounties and banking, but parlays, but face paint, but promo, but weddings.
That is why, with every fiber of our being, we love the playoffs.
When the best play, trenches face to face, sacrifice life and limb for the Lombardi. If there's a way, Stanford turns it all around. It would have to be LA, it would have to be McVay. What you say, Tom Brady, always down. Could he turn it all around now? Turn it all around now. Wipes the blood from his lip, holy shit, he's gonna do it all again, do it all again. It's time for the playoffs. So grab a beer, I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs. The playoffs. It's time for the good stuff. Where every game comes down to guys who kick. It's time for the playoffs. The playoffs. The playoffs.
Ah, the playoffs. Hot goalies, playoff beards, and Lord Stanley. No, Roy, I'm not talking about ice hockey. I'm talking about the NFL playoffs. The gridiron.
Did you guys see, GoJo? You guys familiar with GoJo, Mike Golick Jr.? He put the other day on Twitter a question that I feel like might be a fun one today. Halloween. Happy Halloween, by the way,
Ooh.
everybody.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween, Billy.
You want to know the question?
Sure.
Okay, so here's the question that was tweeted, Dan. If you were retiring from eating candy tomorrow, and that was, a couple days ago. We could do it today because today's Halloween. People eat candy on Halloween. So we'll just rephrase it. If you could retire from eating candy on Halloween, or today, I guess. If you could retire eating candy today, what would be the last thing you would eat?
So what's your favorite candy?
No. What's the last thing you would eat?
It's a different game.
It's a different topic.
Totally different game.
Snickers is probably my favorite, but if I could only eat one, I'm not going Snickers.
Yeah.
What are you going with?
I haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
So the question is, what is your last meal of candies? Your final meal, instead of just your final meal in prison, just candy related. What is the final candy
Well,
that's
you're
also a
popping
different game.
into your mouth?
Yeah, no one's dying here.
Hold on a
Just
second.
retiring.
First, why am I retiring from candy?
And what are you doing? I know you're efforting to try to make it a different game, but why would you go out eating the thing that you enjoyed the most? I mean,
Because Snickers bar has a place in my heart.
Right.
Like, it's my favorite candy bar, but if I only can eat one for the rest of my life, the emotional attachment that I have to Snickers goes out the door, and I just go for best tasting.
You'd probably want to go back to a candy that meant a lot to you as a child, right? That
I don't believe
introduced you to-
anything he said.
That was the deepest thought I've ever had on anything.
It really was. It was stunning.
But
I mean,
also,
it begged the follow-up.
also,
It
I
did. I'm
don't
sorry.
believe what you're saying, though. I believe that
I'm giving you something. What do you want from me?
he's-
I'm
yeah.
a showman.
You're giving me very little. You're giving me something that is
I'm Harry Carey.
insincere. You're Michael Moore.
he's telling you the candy that he would eat for the rest of time, for the rest of his life, is not his favorite one. That's what
I'm
he's telling
kind of
you.
with Chris. I would eat something I hate last and be like, I'm not going to miss this.
Yeah.
What?
You give me an
Yeah.
Almond Joy, I'll be like, good, I don't even want candy.
Right, I'm tired of this.
Ugh, gross. I'm glad. I'm done
Whereas
with
if I
this.
eat a Snickers, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore.
What is your emotional attachment to Snickers?
You guys don't all have a candy that you just go
Yeah.
back with?
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
your best friend.
For me, it's the original.
I almost had a Snickers as my groomsman in my wedding. I was also eating it the first time I had sex. I have a lot. There's a lot of history I have.
No,
with
no,
Snickers
no.
bar.
Yeah, he's right.
Eject.
Billy,
You were
was
there,
there.
Billy, were you? Time now for Jessica's F1 minute. Thank you for all your contributions back there.
He's right.
So no one else is answering?
Pack of original Skittles for me.
Max Verstappen is on the hunt for the most Grand Prix wins in a season in Mexico, but Red Bull's under fire for violating the 2021 cost cap. The FIA announced to be a $7 million fine for Red Bull, plus 10% reduction in development time. Christian Horner is livid. Next time, do your taxes better. Max is mad at Sky Sports because Ted Kravitz was a meanie last weekend. Red Bull is boycotting Sky Sports just like Brad Pitt did in Austin. Lewis Hamilton still needs his first win of the season. Sergio Perez is racing in front of his home fans, and it's lights out and away we go in Mexico City. On turn 1, Lewis gets behind Verstappen in medium tires. Verstappen takes a commanding lead on softs. Will it be a two-pit strategy for the Red Bulls? Nothing happens for several laps, just like Crofty and Martin Brundle talking about tire compounds for an hour. But then Daniel Ricciardo, the Australian, out of nowhere decides it's time to race. Ricciardo takes the inside corner against Yuki Tsunoda and damages the AlphaTauri. He gets a 10-second penalty but races up to the back of the pack. To 7th place, Fernando Alonso has to retire. Verstappen controls the lead. Lewis Hamilton wanted soft tires. Daniel Ricciardo is the driver of the day. Ferrari disappeared. Max Verstappen breaks the record with 14 wins in a season. And Christian Horner says we all owe Red Bull an apology for being mean.
Damn.
I am flabbergasted by how
That Whitty said Skittles? I
good
can't believe it either.
you have gotten at this.
It was a boring race, Dan, but a lot of tire strategy, tire compound talk this weekend.
I'm
That's not your
honestly,
thing. It wasn't for you.
I'm a little offended, I have to be honest, Jessica. You did the whole Formula 1 minute in French for the French Grand Prix, and for the Mexican Grand Prix, you couldn't cook something up in Spanish, you know?
I was actually thinking, Woody, I might text you and ask you to translate it for me, but too lazy.
Stugotz, what are you distracted by right now?
Dan Orlovsky is doing the top 5 scariest teams of the NFL for Halloween, and the Dolphins are ahead of the Chiefs.
What?
That's a win for Tyreek Hill right
Who
there.
is number 2? Because 1 is going to be the Bills, right?
What is Tyreek Hill doing on social media trying to lure Kareem Hunt right now? What is he doing at this moment on Instagram trying to get another playmaker in the Dolphin offense?
I'd probably be a little offended if I were either Raheem Mostert or Chase Edmonds.
Why?
Raheem Mostert.
Chase Edmonds.
Raheem Mostert's run well these last couple of games. His per carry average is good, and you're trying to get him replaced. I mean, yeah, you're trying to posture for. I mean, he probably thinks that this team is Super Bowl ready, and given the fact that they're on Dan Orlovsky's top 4 of top 5 scariest NFL teams, you might have reason to think that this team is Super Bowl ready.
I tried to warn you guys a couple hours ago. Beatles.
We are in a spot with the Miami Dolphins that we have not been in a long time, because I don't believe that the last 20 years of Dolphin football has been uninspired simply because of losing and incompetence. They haven't been in any way exciting.
Oh, my God, Dan. The Bills are not on the list. They're not anywhere in his top 5 scariest teams of the NFL. In fact, Eagles at 3, Ravens at 2, 49ers at number 1. What is Orlovsky doing? Oh, and imagine Stephen A., who is sitting at home watching this nonsense.
Didn't you guys just get done telling me, and I agree with you, how great Orlovsky is on television?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about his list now. He's doing a
Oh,
thing.
that doesn't mean anything. Us talking about a list. Look at how we started this segment. Like what? That
Fantastically?
that is the highest compliment that we can give somebody. We're talking about your list.
What's your candy?
I like
Not your favorite.
Right.
If you only
The last one.
Thank
Right.
you before you
Okay.
retired.
All right. See, no. Okay. So it can't be
It's
about
really
what
your least
I really
favorites.
don't
Yeah.
understand the way that
I
you're
don't know
playing
why
this
you
game.
wouldn't
No,
pick
no.
your favorite.
You could play the game how you want, but if I'm advising you, don't pick your
Right.
favorite.
Yeah.
Dangerous game.
But
Pick
that,
your least favorite so you never want candy again, like a peppermint patty for me.
Oh, God, yes.
Exactly.
can I defend my choice of the
No.
red bag of Skittles?
Well,
Because you said, Chris, a candy you have an emotional attachment to. I have an emotional attachment.
But no, I said I wasn't going to select Snickers because I have the emotional attachment to that, so it's going to be
I
sad
wanna,
for me.
I want to bid it farewell. It's not my favorite candy. I would dare say it's not even in my top 20. It usually gives me a sugar headache. But
Shedache.
Double
but I-
bubble F's them up, guys.
yeah, regular Skittles F me up. But for
A
me,
sugar headache.
it's what I remember from eating candy as a young kid. I love Skittles as a kid.
What was your strategy? Were you open the bag, pour into the mouth? Are you pouring like 5 into your hand? They all go in? Or are you going? You're not just going one at a time.
This may not surprise you.
You
but
monster.
I would actually open the bag, dump them all out on a table, organize them by color.
Oh God.
Yeah, and then I would always save.
You
the
don't deserve candy.
I would always save the purples for last. They weren't my favorite. Purple Skittles
You gotta,
not for me.
you got to eat the ones that aren't your favorite first.
Right, the yellows.
No, guys,
Yellows.
No, he's saying he's saving the purple for last because he doesn't like it, which is how we're playing the game of do the candy that you don't
Well,
like.
I play
last.
the game differently when I'm eating a bag of Skittles.
Oh,
and I'm,
got it.
You know,
Right,
prioritizing.
No,
the
And you know you can have candy again.
Do you
Right,
think there's
yeah.
candy out there we don't know about? Like I'm sure that like Jess mentioned some candy, some like Reese's peanut butter cup, but like a fancy one that I've never heard of.
We did a whole mystery crate about the ones you got from Japan, didn't you?
Yeah, but is there? I feel like there's like rich candy that I don't know
The
about.
Justin's peanut butter cups was my answer because I mean I don't know. I don't even know if you consider them candy because they cost like $4 for 2 peanut butter cups. I feel like it's like the bougie version of a Reese's peanut butter cup.
It's Whole Foods, almond butter, and
They're
like
so
healthy
good.
things, dark chocolate.
They're not healthy.
Healthy. That's funny.
Healthy as far as healthy candy can be. As healthy as a peanut butter cup is going to be. It's almond butter
There's
and
just
dark
not
chocolate.
like filler in it, but like it has completely ruined Reese's for me because now I can't even eat a Reese's.
What a racket Whole Foods is running, where if you purchase anything in
This
Whole Foods,
isn't
you
Whole-
assume
this
that it's
is not
healthy.
Whole
I know,
Foods.
right?
Whatever. Fresh
Everywhere, yes.
market.
Whole
Yeah,
Foods is
classic
too
Whole Foods.
expensive. But are you guys doing something here with your childhood candy? Your favorite childhood candy is going to end up being your favorite adult candy just because it's going to get grandfathered in and you're going to have a nostalgic recollection of what that is before you start learning about all the candies that are available to you as opposed to the ones that you were just getting thrown in a bag because your neighbor was cheap when you were young and it was your induction into candy.
Yeah, Skittles was my induction into candy. As a matter of fact, I was told that I was potty trained via the method of Skittles. And well, it means
What does that
it
even
was
mean?
it was like my incentive. It was my treat for having done
poop?
this correct. Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
associate eating Skittles with having just taken a shit.
That's
Got
correct.
it. That explains
That's
a lot
correct.
about your
It's
psychology.
It's an emotional connection that I have deep inside me.
You remember being potty trained?
No, I was told this story many years later. Yeah, no, I remember.
'Cause
Like
you
it
were
was
you were
yesterday.
12.
Yeah, this happened last year.
Let's do Stugotz's weekend observations here. I love the idea of him being lured to a toilet with Skittles. Like it's just like a bunch of Skittles dropped on the floor as a trail.
Did your parents then like Pavlov dog you?
To share his scary notes.
Yes.
He's done
No
with
one
us.
in the media will tell you what happened better than my
If I was
boy
your brother,
Stu.
I'd just keep holding Skittles to see if you'd poop yourself.
What a mischievous dick you are.
It's a weird way to body train someone, don't you think?
Well, I'd provide incentives. What's wrong with that? It worked. It was effective.
You pooped.
He knows how to use the
I hope
toilet.
so.
It did work.
Can't question the method.
Right. Weekend observations are brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories, available for delivery. Dan, not since they played Alabama 3 weeks ago has there been a game this big. A game with these kind of stakes. A game that will make or break your season. It's number 1 Georgia. It's number 2 Tennessee. It's Athens, Georgia. And Dan, just like that, a game for all the marbles is back.
Is it for all the marbles?
It is. It's for everything. I mean,
Still the SEC title game.
right?
Most of the marbles.
Yeah.
Some of the marbles.
All the marbles. I would say if Tennessee loses, they're out. Right?
It depends. I mean, it depends. How everyone else does.
Huh.
They have a quality win over Alabama. So if Alabama wins the SEC championship and their only losses to Tennessee and Tennessee is only losses to Georgia, it gets a little complicated there.
But Alabama's the only team they allow into the playoff without making it to the SEC championship game, right? I mean, that's essentially
Some of the marbles.
most of the marbles. Christian McCaffrey can do it all. An annual tradition, unlike any other. My top 5 athletes that connote Halloween. Number 5, Joey Batista. Joey Bats. Number 4, John Candelaria, the Candyman. Number 3, Red Grange, the Galloping Ghost. Number 2, Hal Mummy. And number 1, Boo Weekly. A weekly tradition unlike any other. The Anthony Davis injury. AD. Tom Brady left his wife for football. Funniest thing from the sports weekend? The announcers. Building up Syracuse quarterback Garrett Strader, leading up to Syracuse's first offensive snap. Talking about how accurate he's become this season.
Schrader, that's a fine.
It's Strader, I think. I can't see with these glasses. It doesn't matter. Yeah. What does the supremely accurate Garrett Schrader proceed to do moments later? He throws a pick six. Blows a 5-0 lead. 0-6 now on the biggest stage. Justin Verlander. Do it in the World Series. The Fall Classic. Dan, you know what the K in Kyrie Irving stands for?
I do not.
Not kosher. TCU plays and wins the same game every single week. The Horned Frogs. The Memphis Grizzlies are not fucking around. Have you seen them play? They do not F around, man. Every game is like Game 7 of the NBA Finals. They are. I don't know who they're trying to prove it to, but they are trying to prove something to somebody every single night.
Golden State is who they're trying to.
They're not fucking around, man. And Golden State is at 3-5, spending all that money. Be ashamed of themselves. Wake Forest did what Wake Forest does. The Deeks. So did South Carolina. The Cox. So did Oklahoma State. The Pokes. The Pokes and the Cox. Huh. What happened? I didn't even put that in there. If you bet either side in the Penn State Ohio State game, you were hanging on for dear life at the end of the game. Josh McDaniels said the Raiders' 2-5 start is his responsibility. Thanks for clearing that up, Josh. I thought it was someone else's. COVID booster, flu shot, same day, dangerous game. Nothing.
Is that what you're under? Is that what you did? Both
I had
on
a
the...
COVID booster in the left arm, a flu shot in the right arm, same day. Did it yesterday. Not feeling good.
Is
today.
that recommended?
It's a dangerous game.
It is recommended, and everyone
It
should
is.
get their boosters before the holiday season.
No, I'm just saying, like, the
and their
same
flu
day.
shots.
Yeah.
I
it
mean,
is.
the
A lot of people are
pharmacist
doing
told
it.
me to do it. And I was like, I feel like that's a little too much for one day. You know?
No, it's perfectly safe.
Yeah, but I don't feel good today.
I did it last year too.
Yeah, because you got the booster.
Right.
Yeah, I did it last year too, and it was tough sledding for like a week. So I would space them apart.
Arm is sore, right?
It's not just it's just you feel down, feel like you've got no energy for a full week.
Yeah. Nothing makes you feel alive like being 1-4 at 8 p.m. on a Saturday night and staring the Hawaii rainbows right in the eye. Top 5 things that make me feel alive. Number 5, Rocky 4. Number 4, Maverick. Number 3, must-win games. Number 2, Dead and Company shows. Number 1.
The dead make you feel alive.
Oh, they really do. Being 1-4 and staring the Hawaii rainbows right in the eye.
Just random must-win
It makes you
games.
feel alive, man.
Anyway, Stugotz will be a playoff game at your local Optimist Club that's for advancing.
I don't care who's playing.
Stugotz will show up because it's a must-win game.
San Antonio Spurs, 5-2. One might say, Dan, this is Greg Popovich's greatest coaching job ever. Pop, they're winning too much.
Yeah. The Nets are 1-5.
That's crazy. The Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be a problem in the East.
Yeah, they are.
The Cavs. LA Lakers, congratulations on winning. Also, act like you've been there before. Did you see that celebration last night?
No, did they celebrate?
They celebrated like they had won an NBA championship.
No.
It was Darvin Ham's first win.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, but you don't celebrate like that. For his first win.
Russell Westbrook looks so happy making a layup
Yeah.
and having a
He did a
respectable
shimmy.
box score. Yeah, he was so. I've never seen
He's
him
been
that
good
happy
off the
before.
bench. He has. I mean, he's been good off the bench. I like when you have a guy on the bench who automatically makes your bench better than their bench because he's the best guy on the floor when the second teams come out. Russ is.
Billy, why are you making faces at Stugotz?
You just like depth.
I do.
No, he likes big names. He
I
likes
do.
big names because Russell Westbrook,
Like, I prefer.
by any efficiency metric, is not the best player on any floor that he's on.
No, but when the second teams are in and he's on, he
Again,
is.
not the best player by any measurement when he's on the floor, based off how efficient he is.
Once you get to the second teams, though, it's why I like Tyler Hero coming off the bench last year. Because anytime he was inserted into the game, he was the best player on the floor.
So you just like big names coming off the bench.
I do.
Stugotz still thinks that Russell Westbrook is good, and
I do.
It's an unusual thing to be thinking if you're looking at how he's playing. On the bench, off the bench. People got mad at Chris Mannix for saying this might be his last season in the NBA. The way that people lined up, and I'm assuming, I don't even know, I didn't know that Russell Westbrook had defenders at this point. I thought everybody was against Russell Westbrook at this point.
I think Russell Westbrook represents a sort of a type that I think a lot of sports fans get behind. But that honestly, that floored me when he said that. Like, just going to be out of the league. You always figure that some team, if he can accept being a sixth man, like he will have to accept on this Lakers team, he could have a role to play on a mediocre to bad team. But flatly out of the league, I was floored.
That's how it went with Melo, though, until he accepted the role, right?
Correct,
Melo
yes.
was out of the league when we all thought that he could still play because he wasn't willing to accept a different role. I think that's what Mannix is saying, is he not?
Bo Nix, more like Bo Six. The G in Jesse Garcia stands for gamer. How about that?
I don't even know who is Jesse Garcia. I looked this up. Who are you talking about?
I thought he was the Canes quarterback.
His name is Jake Garcia.
Oh, whatever. Jake, Jesse. I mean, win a few more, I'll get your name right.
6-6 in regulation.
Gamer.
Only 3 games this season have not had a touchdown in them. That's the only one that hasn't involved Iowa. The Miami-Virginia game.
Really?
Yes.
Stugotz, what about that game gave off gamer to you?
I mean,
The 6 points in Charlottesville?
the W.
I feel like a lot of Miami fans learned this weekend that college football has now decided on 2-point conversions. There had to be a lot of people that were looking at, what's happening now?
In the third overtime?
Yeah, they're lining up for 2. The game finished 14-12 after 2 overtimes. What? Also, I really enjoyed that in the first 3 possessions of overtime, there was a 41-yard, 41-yard, and 42-yard field goal kicked, meaning that there was a grand net of 2 offensive yards in the 3 offensive possessions. That is the worst football game I've ever seen, and actually
really
stuck with
bad.
to the end.
And it was 4 overtimes, and I tried turning it on TV during overtime, but literally could not get it on my TV. It was on like regional sports network.
ESPN 3, right?
No, it was not on.
Really?
It wasn't even on ESPN.
Not in
3.
Miami or in ACC markets. It
It's
was
on Bally.
Bally Sports.
And I couldn't get it because I have a Bally Sports cable subscription that's not based in Miami. So
Did
I
you
was just
guys
shit out of
watch
luck.
the 9:30 a.m. football game yesterday? Because I don't have ESPN Plus, and so where else would it have been?
It was just on ESPN Plus. They want you to subscribe to ESPN Plus. I feel like
That's how they get you.
I know,
mean,
but also like as a soccer fan, I'm sort of I look upon people that tweet out, "What the hell? This game is on ESPN Plus." Guys, my games have only been available to watch on streaming for 5 years now. You guys are lucky that this is just coming for your sports, because for the rest of us that support lesser known sports or lesser known leagues, it's been this life for several years. Buy an ESPN Plus subscription and get over it.
Jesus.
I use yours.
Same.
I'm getting to it. Congratulations to Miami and Virginia, who pulled off the impossible feat of playing the only bad 4 overtime game in the history of sports.
I was made physically uncomfortable by that game because Miami's receivers refused to get any separation.
The goal to go scenario when it was 6-6 or when it was 6-3, excuse me, and the Hurricanes were trying to go in and score a touchdown, the the penalty, the trying to reset the clock after confusion over a timeout from the ACC for 6 full minutes, where we're sitting around watching referees figure out what the clock situation is, and then they take a false start penalty or a delay of game penalty.
Well, how about that one, though? How about that one? You're on the 1 yard line. You're on the 1 yard line in a game that has no touchdowns in it. The Hurricanes had the game won. They were running the same play. The same handoff play was going right down the field. They're going to score a touchdown. Illegal substitution.
Yeah, they start an offensive play with 12 men on the field. And it's what everyone has told me what happens with Mario Cristobal teams. This is just what happens. There are calamities that happen at the end of games, and they're lucky as hell to have won that game and be 4-4. And I believe they're either 8 or 9 point home underdogs to Florida State this weekend.
If you win against Virginia in 4 overtimes, haven't you already lost, though?
Yeah.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. If you win against Virginia in 4 overtimes in football, haven't you already lost?
8.5 point underdogs against Florida State.
Okay. The Florida Panthers and Ottawa Senators played a little Saturday matinee. You, of course, know what that means, Dan, when these two teams get together.
I do not.
It means a couple of Kachucks cutting it up. How about that?
Nice.
I love how Stugotz spelled this phonetically in his observations.
I did.
And spelled it chucks.
I did.
So no silent T?
Chucks. Yeah.
I have no
It was
idea.
for himself.
I mean, it makes sense to you.
If the T's there, he doesn't trust his own reading.
If I read this, it would say chucks.
I know, but
that's how this is
you
spelled.
Have to understand,
That's how I say it,
If
though.
he
I'd
had
spell
put
it.
the T there, he would have started with a T sound, a hard T. He does not know how to make the T silent.
So just get rid of it.
That's right. You just spell it wrong.
It's not there. I can't read it, Dan.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
You prefer it invisible to silent.
Yes. The invisible T. Death, taxes, and Leslie Frazier. Not even certain what that means.
Okay, if you don't know what it means, no one does.
Where is Leslie Frazier?
Buffalo.
Really?
I believe so.
He is.
Yeah. He's always there.
Somewhere.
You know, it's a tough season for Liverpool when they are losing to American coaches. Heading for mid-table obscurity. The Reds. Who put that one in there?
I can't imagine who did that.
Dan, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Jacksonville Jaguars are a disappointing 2-6. They are, right?
Yeah, they should be better than that.
Did you know Noah Syndergaard is an Astro? Did you know he's pitching and starting a World Series game tonight? Thor. Kirk Cousins.
Hold on a phone. Hold the phone.
What happened?
I think he's a Philly.
Hold on a phone.
Is he?
I was so rattled by that I misspoke.
Let's see. Now I'm rattled.
He's a Philly.
Well, he's starting a World Series game tonight, all right?
He said Astro, though.
But is he starting a World Series game tonight?
You nailed that part.
Okay.
You had a 50-50 shot at getting the team right.
Flu shot.
Flu
Jessica.
shot. Yeah. Booster shot. And I can't see in these glasses. I think I actually
Halloween
wrote down
Dano.
Philly. Yeah.
No, you didn't.
I think I did. Should have corrected me.
We did.
Before I read them.
Jesse Garcia.
Ow.
He looked up the entire internet for a Jesse Garcia. just to-
Gamer. Yeah. Dennis Allen. Revenge game. Speaking of revenge game, Nick Folk. I hate them. Steve Nash. Just so we're on the same page, they are trying to get you fired. Now we're on the same page. Kawhi Leonard lives on planes that take him home to be reevaluated. You know what the D in DJ Moore stands for, Dan?
I do not.
Dum-dum. DJ Moore, the rare play that both wins and loses the game for you. Panthers need to shake that one off. I mean, at 2-6, they are right there in the NFC South. If in the NFC, through 8 weeks, you had Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith, and Marcus Mariota all being in first place at 1,000,000,000 odds, congratulations. Josh Allen is more of a man than the rest of us. LeBron and KD are a combined 2-10. Hell is going on. Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
Winner go home. The ultimate postseason tournament. Here, let me show you. Big Ben's last game. Kyler's feeling shame. Upsets in Green Bay and in Tennessee. There's just no way Prescott's going to the ground. He slid 1 second too late, and they don't have a timeout. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Arrowhead, become personal playgrounds. Too much time, 13 ticks. Holy shit, he's gonna do it all again. Do it all again. It's time for the playoffs. So grab a beer. I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs. The playoffs. It's time for the good stuff. Where every game comes down to guys who kick. It's time for the playoffs. The playoffs. The
The playoffs sometimes mean having to say goodbye. Even if you're not ready. Careers wind to an end. Mantles taken. Last chapter's written. But stars emerge to write new, exciting stories. For every door that closes, a new one opens. For every immunized quarterback that falls short, there's a young hotshot ready to take his place. There's nothing quite like
Playoffs. The playoffs.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'm talking about the greatest of all time. He can turn it around in just one play. You can watch it all happen in the playoffs. The playoffs, it's the playoffs. Never is afraid. Eyes in his face. The chosen. I'm talking about Evan McPherson. It's time for the playoffs. It's the playoffs. The playoffs. It's the playoffs.
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker. I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time.
He's beautiful in every way. It's out of control.
He throws the ball most accurately and won 7 rings.
So good at backing. He's meant to our decade teams.
A 6th-round draft pick with a chip on his shoulder and a dimple on his chin.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all
He broke so many records and reached unattainable goals.
I said he was done 10 years ago when he shoved it down my throat.
He played the Jets twice a year and always ripped out their souls.
And just like that, he left us all wanting more. He's a certified GOAT.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all.
The greatest of all time.
The greatest of all time.
The Jets. The Jets. Why this team? The Jets. Ah, the Jets! The Jets!
Stugotz, what's the matter, buddy?
I mean, Greg, just one time. 40 years I've been rooting for this team, and just one time I wanted my team to play in that big game in that beautiful dome in Los Angeles.
Dome? What about the elements? Back in my day, we didn't play in a dome. Let me tell you, back in my day, we considered football to be an honorable game. We didn't have to pass the ball every single play, and that's how we did it back in my day. It's the cold in December and sweltering two-a-days. It's embracing occasional punts, and don't get me started on instant replay. Now we're cooking with gas. Watch out! I'm not done, by the way. Let me tell you, back in my day, there was no showboating. We respected the game. We sat on a stoop and let the radio play, 'cause that's how we did it.
We'll get to the funniest thing from the sports weekend in a second, but I have not been able, Stugotz, to actually watch any of the games of the 1-5 Nets. I just keep checking in with the Ben Simmons box scores, and I don't see someone who is doing very much in these basketball games. And I have seen a couple of clips of Kyrie Irving getting upset because it seems like Ben Simmons won't take the easiest of shots. Ben Simmons did airball a finger roll the other day. Do we have evidence watching this now that this is a short-circuited player? Or is he hasn't played in a long time, and Klay Thompson is here to tell you, hey, wait a minute before you make all of your assessments. It takes a minute to get back in NBA shape when you haven't played for a couple of years.
I mean, look at that last game. He had 9 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds, a steal and a block. Like, that's kind of Ben Simmons' stat line, is it not?
It didn't used to be. It
has been for the last 3 years, but when he came into the league, he was a guy that attacked the basket in transition. That was his sort of method of developing offense was, he didn't shoot, but he was always going at the rim. And the thing that's changed is he has become an appreciably worse free throw shooter. So he doesn't want to shoot free throws. And that completely neuters his ability to be effective as an offensive player. The only benefit of the doubt that you give him is that it's going to take him a second to come back from a year out.
But what I'm asking you, not having seen their games, I'm asking you if there is evidence in his game to suggest that he is not being aggressive because he does not want to shoot free throws. He's not being aggressive because he doesn't want to shoot, period. Are you watching? These are very rare things. We've seen it with Rick Ankiel. We've seen it with Markelle Fultz. It doesn't happen that often where you're watching someone who's climbed to the top 1% of the 1% of competing for dollars in an athletic space, and you see something that you can assess from your seat in the stands, you can clinically diagnose as, oh, that dude's afraid.
He's yet to reach 10 points so far this season. And looking back at his stats, Dan, like he was a guy who was 16 and a half, 17 points a game, went to the line 5 to 6 times a game, and now he's only getting to the line 2.5 times per game. So that would suggest that yeah, I'm not shooting as much. I don't want to take free throws. I'm not good at doing that.
This is where I learned to get out of soccer when I no longer wanted the ball anywhere around me. I was trying to endure. And I was a very young man. Usually this gets weeded out very quickly.
I learned when the games were 0-0. I mean,
I'm with you though, Dan. Like I play in a game on Wednesday nights, the one that Jess says that I'm good at. There are times where I know and I feel it on all of my teammates. Oh, they don't want to give me the ball, and I really don't want it either. And so, like,
it's so sad.
No, but you
I think it's happening with Ben Simmons.
You literally get backed into a corner, and so like I'm in a corner and I'm trying to figure out what to do, and it can absolutely short
Just
circuit.
pass him the ball. It's a weeknight league.
But I was on the other team.
But I'm genuinely surprised.
I tried nutmegging him though.
that happens to a professional. That what I feel on a Wednesday night could happen to a professional basketball player who has had success. It doesn't make sense that he's fallen off to this degree or that free throws are that much in his head.
If we've talked with Ricky Williams about this, Stugotz. Ricky Williams felt like he was not somebody. He couldn't tell what it was because society and pressures culturally made him think that he had to be a football player. That's the thing everyone wanted, to be famous and to make a lot of money doing that. He didn't understand why inside him stirred something that was saying intuitively, this doesn't feel like happiness to you. If Ben Simmons is indeed afraid running around out there, then getting up in the morning's a misery. Because you have to head to a game where you don't actually want the basketball, where your teammates kind of know this about you. They just want you to be aggressive. They see all these physical tools. Man, what a mind bleep that would be to live. And I know everyone thinks they make a lot of money, so who cares, right? My guess is making a lot of money is probably why he's still doing it. But there's a lot of circumstantial evidence here that suggests that this person doesn't quite have the confidence that other people do. And God almighty, in that ecosystem, that's like blood in the water around sharks.
Sure. Yeah.
And the thing that Ben Simmons could have rehabilitated his, perception, his game in a completely unscrutinized atmosphere. But he was part of the trade in which he went to the Brooklyn Nets. If he's playing in Orlando or in Sacramento or for one of these tanking teams in Oklahoma City, like he could be absolutely getting numbers right now. They would give him the ball all the time, but in this pressurized environment where the Nets are 1-5 and people are looking at their roster spend and saying, this is where the gap is. This is where if you filled it with a good basketball player who makes $32 to $35 million, we could be a championship contender.
Well, they have that with James Harden.
1-5, right?
Well, they had James Harden.
Yeah.
Right. But
And
Kyrie and KD are such pains in the asses that even James Harden wanted
I think you
out
can
of there.
specify that to Kyrie.
Right. Okay. I mean, that's fair. It's like he's so supremely talented, has all the physical gifts, but his shots per game are down from 12 a game. Took 12 a game. Now he's only taking 5 a game. He's afraid to shoot. He is afraid to shoot. Whether it's the free throw line, whether it's in the course of a normal action of an NBA game, Ben Simmons does not want to shoot the basketball. It's crazy.
Let's do funniest thing from the sports weekend.
Hey, people, tell us what in the sport made you laugh hardest this weekend. It is a segment we call What Made You Laugh This Weekend. Ha ha ha!
Tony, what's the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Thanks for asking, Chris. It was La Miseria that was the Miami-Virginia game. Miseria. It was horrible.
Game.
Yeah, it was not funny.
Why did it take 50 minutes for them at the end of the game to play like 50 seconds? They just kept going back and doing replays. Like
I still think they got it wrong because there was supposed to be a 10-second runoff, but the Hurricanes wanted the 10-second runoff, but they then had an extra timeout. I still think after spending 6 minutes on it, they still ended up with the wrong scenario on the clock in terms of time left and timeouts left.
And Mario still got like 2 yards as a result of all of that time.
It was strange. They milled around on the sideline talking to Mario for about 10 minutes, and it was more interesting than anything I saw in the previous 4 quarters and 2 overtimes. Chris Cody, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
A Lions cornerback lining up what seemed like 10 yards, but it was like 3 yards offsides. He was like staring straight ahead at the wide receiver, and you see a side shot of it. He's like 5 yards offsides. Like, I don't understand how it happened, but it was hilarious.
Billy, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
So today we've been playing this game behind the scenes where we're trying to figure out, and it's less so of a game, we're trying to figure out if people on TV are dressed in costumes or if they're just dressed really weird today.
Costume or nostume?
Yeah, it's strange. And then I don't think that we've addressed what we've been wearing today, but everyone's kind of been trying to figure out what Chris Cody is. And moments ago, he just announced, I look like my mom. And then we were trying to figure that out.
I don't want to insult my mom. No, when I had the glasses on, like
Yeah.
my mom wears glasses, and I kind of have the same face as her, so I keep looking up at the screen and I see my mother.
He said he looks like his mom, and then Tony looked at me and said, or Chris looked at me and said, you look like Donny Osmond. And then Jess said, who the bleep is Donny Osmond?
And then Tony figured out what Jess looks like.
Jess is Ruthie from Ozark.
I don't know shit about fuck.
I didn't see it until right now. I didn't see it. She's supposed to be Justin Timberlake, but she does look like Ruthie from Ozark.
It's my beautiful wig that Valerie got for me, Dan. She did a great job
That's
with
not
all
natural?
these costumes, by the way. Not natural. Dan is a salad, but he's also French fries because he puts French fries on his salad. If
He's
you were
fat.
at home and you didn't catch on that. And the rest of us are in sync, marionettes. And this counts as a grid of death punishment also. I would like, honestly, it should count as 5 each.
Everybody.
No, it's 1. This was actually a
But
punishment, dressed like
maybe more than
NSYNC.
1.
So 5 people paid out, well, 4 people.
It was the old two-bird situation.
Billy, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
We're playing this game today, Dan. We're figuring out if people in costume or not.
Jessica, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
A little F1 extra minute. Martin Brundle on the grid walk this weekend went up to some random lady and she was like, hey, who are you? Because he didn't have anyone else to talk to. And she was like, I thought Brad Pitt was so mean to you last week. And they had a very sweet little moment where she complimented him for doing a great job with his grid walks. And he was like, I appreciate that. And it was very sweet and very funny.
Whittingham, what do you got for us?
There is a major controversy in the world of New Jersey high school football. There is a viral video of a group of officials measuring a first down yardage. The ball is very clearly short of the line to gain, and the referee picks the football up, places it ahead of the first down marker, and signals first down.
Get out of here.
Seriously.
That's how
It's
Stugotz would do
it's
it.
unbelievable video. This game was televised.
What schools were these? Was this Bishop
says-
Sycamore refs or something?
Yeah, it says Eastern and Vineland. Eastern and Vineland. And you legitimately see the referee pick up the ball, move it forward, first down. And you wonder if he had money on this high school football game.
Brazen cheating. Stugotz, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
After having a career high in receiving yards plus 3 touchdowns, A.J. Brown woke up this morning to a random drug test.
He did look superhuman yesterday. He got the only thing he did wrong was get a 15-yard penalty for taunting the 2 fallen defensive backs who failed to cover him correctly on a single play. He twice in that game, Stugotz, Jalen Hurts threw into obvious double coverage.
Yep.
And it did not matter.
Nope.
Because A.J. Brown is big and strong and bigger and stronger than anyone in your secondary.
Deserve the drug test, though, huh? I mean,
I'm shocked no one picked DJ Moore for funniest thing.
Stephon Diggs wanted to fight everybody yesterday, huh? Like, that was crazy. He was fighting people coming out of the tunnel. He was having to be held back by his entire team after a touchdown. Like, how awesome was that? I love him, too.
And how have we not gotten rid of single tunnels? There's a huge problem in the Michigan State game. There's a huge problem in Bills-Packers last night. Everyone was trying to fight each other. How, in modern innovation, do we not have a tunnel for each team?
In the Michigan State game, that video was of just a kid without a helmet, a Michigan kid who just got stuck getting pummeled under the Michigan State kids, right? They were just punching him.
Yeah, and James Franklin said last weekend that he didn't like that they were, because there was a similar type like scuffle last weekend with Penn State and Michigan, and everyone's like, all right, James Franklin, but then much worse video from this week, and I think 3 players have been suspended from Michigan State's team. It was a very ugly scene.
It was ugly. It wasn't funny, but did anyone else kind of chuckle when they like panned the camera? You just saw kind of like a Michigan staffer just like,
Yeah,
just,
guy
like, keep walking by,
with
like,
a
what am I
headset
gonna
on.
do? Yeah,
Guy with a
what am
headset
I
on.
gonna do
I'm not
about
going to
this?
jump in there.
Yeah.
Kept it moving. LeBron James went on a podcast this week and renounced his Cowboys footballdom because he didn't like how they were, wishy-washy about the kneeling during the anthem. So now he's a fan of the Browns.
I can't. He said I can't morally support the Dallas Cowboys, so I'm a Browns fan now. This was in his announcement that he's going to be doing an alternate broadcast on Thursday Night Football.
Wait a minute.
That's
Yes.
right.
No, that's legitimately The Office. That is a scene from
Is this
The
an
Office.
Onion article?
No, that is a real thing on an Instagram Live.
All
that he
of this
did-
really happened.
Yes.
Okay.
While announcing that he will be doing an alternate broadcast of this upcoming Thursday Night Football game, that he has morally abandoned the Dallas Cowboys to support the Browns.
It's a kicker. I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left.